Evaluate the limit. The limit of x divided by the quantity cosine of x minus 1 as x approaches 0. Let's use some trig identities to rewrite the function before trying to find its limit. So the first thing that we're going to do is, because we have a cosine of x minus 1 in the denominator, is we're going to multiply both the numerator and denominator by cosine of x plus 1. And when we do that, we will end up getting x times the cosine of x plus 1 all over cosine squared of x minus 1. And we know that cosine squared of x minus 1 is equal to negative sine squared of x. So the numerator will stay the same. But then the denominator will become negative sine squared of x. Now, in order to get a trig identity or a trig limit that we can evaluate or simplify, we're going to need to multiply both the numerator and denominator by 1 divided by x squared. 1 divided by x squared. And when we do that, we will get cosine of x plus 1 divided by x, because this x and one of these will cancel out. And then in the denominator, we have negative sine squared x over x squared. And then we can rewrite the denominator. Instead of negative sine squared of x over x squared, we could write it as negative sine of x over x quantity squared. So I'm going to write it that way. And we know that the limit of sine of x over x is equal to 1, and 1 squared is 1. So we can find the limit of this now as x approaches 0. And as we said, the very bottom is equal to negative 1. When we take the limit of sine of x divided by x, we get, as x approaches 0, we get 1, and 1 squared is 1, and we have this negative sign out in front. So now we can also take the limit of cosine of x plus 1 over x as x approaches 0. And anything divided by negative 1 is just the negative of that. So we can rewrite this with just a negative coefficient out in front. So I'm going to do that. And now let's substitute 0 in and see what happens. Cosine of 0 is 0. I'm sorry, cosine of 0 is 1. Plus 1 over 0, and we have the negative out in front of this. So that's going to be negative 2 over 0. And negative 2 divided by 0 does not exist, or answer choice D. We can also verify that this limit does not exist by looking at its graph. So the original function that we had was x divided by cosine of x minus 1, and this is what the graph generally looks like. And as we approach 0 from the left, we're approaching positive infinity, and as we approach 0 from the right, we're approaching negative infinity. And since the limits do not match, the limit does not exist.